You call that radio. More like a TV show. On almost every night.
It's You Call That Radio.
Streaming live.
We are live
You call that
from Glasgow.
radio. More like a TV show.
It's You Call That Radio. We are live with an absolute hero of mine, Grasshopper of the band Mercury Rev. They have a UK album out. They've a UK tour coming up, a world tour coming up. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about their brand new album, Born Horses, that's available. And we'll be talking about the career, which I am a super fan of, going way back. In fact, I've actually got some proof of how long I've been listening to the band for that I'll bring on in a little second. But let's just go live. I think New York or New York-ish. It's Grasshopper. How you doing?
How's it going? Good. Doing all right.
Are you in New York, or you said New York time? Are you in that vicinity?
I'm in New York State, but up in the Catskills.
Catskill Mansions, buried dreams. I'm alive, she says, but I don't know what it means.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly. See, I'm a real fan, man. I'm going to bring up proof of that, but can I just say, it is an honour. It's been a long time I've been listening to your music. I think the first time I heard of you, I must have been about 12, 13. And I don't know how I heard of you, because this is before you got the fame, and because you were huge in the UK, obviously. And it was your self-esteem, so I read about it in the NME, or someone randomly shoplifted it from R.S. McCall.
Oh, that's
good. And it was, we're 12-year-olds.
yeah.
I mean,
you got to do it.
You've got to do what you've got to do to find
You got to
the
do
music. And yeah, man, I remember listening to, first of all, Chasing a Bee. I still listen to that often. That's my band, actually, we tried to kind of cover it, and I didn't think we were doing it justice. But I love Chasing a Bee. It's engraved in my head. And then there was Black and Blue, which was terrifying.
Yeah. Scary.
It's a scary song. But I didn't run away from the music. I ran towards the music, and I'm glad I did, because it's some of the best music around. You've got a UK tour, you've got a world tour coming up, and a new album coming out. Let's just give that a little plug quickly, and that's Born Horses here. I'll bring up the artwork. How are you feeling about the album? How's it sounding?
It sounds great, I think, we worked on it for quite a while, and it's pretty expansive, it's pretty cinematic, maybe theatrical, it's big, it's beautiful. We love it.
Amazing, man. And it's out on September the 6th.
September the 6th.
Yeah.
Bella Union Records.
On Bella Union Records, and I'll put the links in the comments to anyone who wants to get the pre-orders in. It's mercuryrev.com or bellaunion.com. The links are there, so there's no excuses. And yeah, man, I was listening to the interview you did with is it Everyone Loves Guitar, or Everyone Loves Guitars?
Yeah. Yes.
And he's very good. He was very good, because he asked a lot of the questions that I would ask. So I realise I'm not the best, and much more. But I realise I'm not the best at asking questions, but I'm really good at the follow-up questions. So we'll try something a little bit different. We'll try something a little bit different. We're talking about that Black and Blue song. It's cold outside. First time I heard that, my father, he'd been sober for years, but he kind of went off the wagon a little bit for the first time in years. And my mother had picked up the phone. No, I picked up the phone, and he was talking to me. And she said, "How's your father doing?" And I said, "He's doing well. He's with his pal Tarzan." And she said, "That's not fine. Tarzan doesn't have a house. Tarzan lives under the shopping mall." And I was like, right. And then I listened to your self-esteem, the Black and Blue, it's cold outside. I was like, what a tune. What a great album. And can we go back to that? I think that's a good place to kind of start with the timeline of everything. What was going on there? What was happening before that? I'm a little bit hazy with what happened before that. I did see that you were kind of started off as like a media studies band doing
Yes.
soundtracks. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah. Well, I met Jonathan first, and then we started playing guitars together. And around the same time that I met David Baker, and we were in media studies in Buffalo. We studied with Tony Conrad, who had associations with the Velvet Underground. He named the Velvet Underground. He found the book,
Wow.
like he found the book, The Velvet Underground, laying in the subway. He brought it back to the apartment where he was actually, Tony was good friends with John Cale. He brought it back to the apartment, and Lou Reed was there, and they liked that name, so they used it, obviously. And but yeah, Tony Conrad, he played with Faust. He made films. He did he did video performance art. He played music, minimalism with Lamont Young, and his own stuff. And so he was a big influence. And but yeah, we started out just making. We started out Jonathan, myself, and David Baker, and then Suzanne Thorpe came in, just making soundtracks to first student films. But then some people saw some of the stuff we did, and then we for the local TV stations and public access, and then for some Canadian television, we did some soundtracks and the music for nature shows and stuff like that. So that's what we started out doing. But then, you know, we love that stuff, but we love, we love rock and roll and jazz and everything. So we started writing songs, lyrics and things like black and blue and blue and black and blue and black and blue.
And
But
and then from there it was so just correct me if I'm wrong on this timeline, but Jonathan Donahue went away to the Flaming Lips, and then
yes.
came back for See You on the Other Side. Is that right?
Well, no. Jonathan always was with Mercury Rev. It was just that he we met the Flaming Lips. Jonathan booked them in Buffalo, and Wayne really got along with Jonathan, and then asked him to sort of tour manage, and then he started playing with the band. And I'm the guy who knew Dave Fridman from childhood, and then I introduced Dave Fridman to all those guys. And so then the Flaming Lips took me on the road. I used to run the bubble machines and sell merch. And actually, Nirvana was the opening band. So I got to
Wow.
sell, Kurt Cobain said, "Hey, can you sell my merch for me?" And I said, "Sure, put it up here with the rest of the stuff." So I would settle with him every night, sell T-shirts and records for Nirvana and Flaming Lips. But yeah, I mean, both Jonathan was in both bands, concurrently running through that, and I played a little bit on like Priest-Driven Ambulance and stuff. I'm just credited as Sean, but I did a bunch of I did some guitars and stuff like that on there.
Amazing, man. You just mentioned like two of my favourite bands there. Aside from yourself, was Nirvana and Flaming Lips as well. Love them both, man.
Yeah,
So whereabouts is this in?
this is
Uh,
like this is like this is like 1989 when I was on tour with the Flaming Lips. Jonathan started playing with them in probably like 88, 89, 90, 91. And then, but at the same time, we were doing Mercury Rev, Your Self Esteem, recording that. Um, at the same time, they were doing Priest Driven Ambulance.
and so from to go to See You on the Other Side, which another fantastic record, and not as challenging as say I would say Your Self Esteem, because when you listen to it now, it I don't understand why it didn't get as commercially successful as it perhaps deserved to be. But was it just a bit too? Was it just a bit of ahead of your time for something like that? Do you think?
Yeah, we're always ahead of our time. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Well,
Okay. What else?
your time did come obviously with the double back to back success of Deserter Songs and All His Dream,
Yeah.
both being back to back, and you know what a run that was, and you know I remember I think was it album of the year with the NME and stuff like
Yes.
that, and that's when the NME was hugely influential. Did you notice that influence by by being written about in such glowing terms by those magazines?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Buffalo, but we got we got them like a week late or 2 weeks late sometimes, but because they came out weekly. But we got Melody Maker and Enemy in Buffalo. Part of the reason we were so close, Buffalo's so close to Canada and Toronto and stuff, so is that there was that influence. But we had the Enemy and Melody Maker, and we would in Canadian radio would play a lot of music from Europe and especially UK and Ireland and Scotland and stuff. And I saw Big Country in a big country dreams
Yes.
when I was maybe like 14, 15 years old. But yeah, I mean, and like saw the Alarm, and we saw Talk Talk and the Psychedelic Furs and Echo and the Bunnymen and all that stuff I mean, Echo and the Bunnymen were fantastic. Just at the time of Ocean, I saw him on the tour for Ocean Rain. Oh my God. It was like still one of my favorite concerts. It sounded so good, and the visuals and everything. I just remember that concert in Buffalo was one of my, in my top 5 shows, I think.
Have you got? Can you? I don't want to put you in the spot. Can you name your other top five shows? Have you got a top five?
I mean, Sonic Youth probably um, during well, I saw them a bunch of times, but during Evol, but Daydream Nation too.
Wow.
I mean, Sonic Youth was always great. Ramones I saw many times. I love the Ramones. One of my favorite concerts was the Stooges when they reformed. One of the first shows they reformed. I saw them at Roskilde. I flew there I flew to Roskilde because Mercury Rev we had that summer off. We were recording off and on. I flew, and it was raining, and I saw Iggy and the Stooges, and I was just like, it was like the happiest time of my life. People were pouring beer all over me. I was drenched. It was a downpour, and but it was like so amazing to see the Stooges. I mean, amazing. And then probably another great concert. I saw Lou Reed when I was like 16, and he was playing with Robert Quine. And it was around the time of like the Blue Mask, Legendary Hearts albums. But Robert Quine was like when I saw him play guitar, that's when I started playing guitar. Uh, and when I saw Echo and the Bunnymen, like with Will Sargent, it was around the same time, like 1984 to 83. Um, yeah, Robert Quine, he had played with Richard Hell and the Voidoids, but he was playing with Lou Reed, and it was amazing, amazing.
So, do you think those couple of gigs really just made you pick up that guitar? Did you have
Oh
any
yeah,
ambitions to do it before, or did that
I
just
did.
underline it?
I mean, I did play before. I played like mandolin, ukulele, things like that. That my grandfather. I'm half I'm half Sicilian and half Polish ancestry, but my Sicilian grandfather played mandolin, and so I played mandolin. I played ukulele and stuff. But so I knew, some of the I knew the ins and outs and the ropes of it. But then, yeah, when I started to play guitar picked up the guitar around that time when I saw those shows.
And it's such an amazing time. So what age were you when that happened then?
What's that?
What age were you when you
Oh, what
seen those
age?
shows?
Uh, I was probably around like 17. You know, before that, I had played some drums in a punk band called the People's Front of Judea, which was named after
Monty
in Monty
Python.
Python.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We were kind of like a Husker Du kind of band. Um, and you know, from a young child, I played clarinet. I used to play, and like I said, I was half Sicilian, half Polish. So I play the clarinet with my uncle Irvy played accordion, and I played clarinet. We played polkas and a lot of polka music and stuff when I was a little kid. But yeah, I mean, then I picked up the guitar and then went from there.
Yeah, and what a run at Spain, man. So they see you on the other side. So between your self esteem and see you on the other side, what's kind of going on then? So you've got so is Jonathan back full time, or is he still kind of
Yeah,
in and out?
he's back full time. Then we did Bosie's, which was a crazy, nice, beautiful, noisy album. And then your self esteem, which I mean, not your self esteem, see you on the other side, which then was kind of different and had a lot of influences of different American and European kind of music we liked in show tunes and like Django Reinhardt and doo-wop and noise and the Stooges, and we tried to like put it all into a blender and mix it all up and 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 like see what came out.
And so when you're what so was it after see you on the other side that you started sort of running into problems?
Around well during See You on the Other Side, but yeah, during See You on the Other Side and afterwards,
So it was
where
like sort of the drink, the drugs, the rock and roll, the Spanish monasteries, and sort of things like that.
yeah, wine, women, and song.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
too much of a good thing,
too
and
much. Yeah,
you loved too much, and you ended up in a Spanish monastery, which it's quite interesting because it's like I'm in a band as well, and it's like everybody around about our age group, we're all hitting late 30s, early 40s, and it is getting to the stage where people are either choosing yoga or heroin, and it seems like you've got to go one way or the other. So I quite like the idea of life can be quite hectic when you live in the city, even a
yeah.
Scottish city, believe it or not. So I quite like the idea of just like going away for 6 months and I mean, what is it exactly you do in the Spanish monastery? Very little, or is it like work, or what is,
You
what
do
is what
work.
happens?
You do some work like um, clean up everybody's. You cook. You clean up the kitchen, but you also do work, laundry, things like that. But then there's time of like meditation, time of silence. You just sit there for a few hours with a vow of silence, kind of getting into your brain, thinking, and that's almost like a drug in itself when you go into your mind, into inner space instead of outer space. You experience that. But yeah, I mean, I lived down in the Lower East Side, down in the East Village, and I mean, it was easier to buy a pack of heroin, buy a bundle of heroin than it was to buy like a pack of cigarettes. Like it was like all around, it was everywhere. So, but I got away from all. I moved up. I moved up here first to Poughkeepsie, and then I moved up to the Catskills, and yeah, got away from a lot of that
So
craziness.
could you, obviously I know the Catskill Mansions from mainly Mercury Rev lyrics. Sorry, I just also noticed that when an American says Mercury Rev, but I'm saying Mercury Rev. But
Yeah.
does that sound weird?
Well, I say Mercury Rev with the accent on the Rev, but then I think Jonathan kind of says like Mercury Rev, the accent on Mercury. So
So
I
just
don't know. I don't know which way is correct. It's
Mercury
like
Rev,
whatever.
Mercury Rev. That's what I say.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Mercury
put
Rev,
some Mercury
Mercury,
Rev, Mercury Rev.
Mercury Rev, Mercury Rev.
So I sorry, what is it? Sorry, I just got distracted there. What is Catskill Mansions exactly? I imagine because obviously the Mercury Rev songs have painted these pictures of places like the Catskill Mansions and the Hudson Line, and I've never Googled it or anything. I'm just imagining it with my imagination. So what are yeah, both Catskill Mansions? What is that, and what is the Hudson Line?
Well, there's the Catskill Mountains, and then there's like a state park, the Catskills, which was it was the called the Borscht Belt. It was a lot of comedians would and musicians actually, like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, would play these resorts and try out material, which then they would record. There was like back then Benny Goodman or the Marx Brothers or like Abbott and Costello. A lot of comics and stuff were up here because New York City, the people would. It's about 90 minutes away. People would come up here to the Catskills for the summer because it was cooler and just to get away from the city life. And the Hudson River runs along here. But then there are a lot of Catskill mansions, which are on the west side of the river. They're all pretty much like monasteries. And on the east side of the river, the mansions were like the Vanderbilts, the Roosevelts, and people who own steel companies and all the rich, kind of had mansions over there, which are all still there. You could see them all and take the tour. Come on, I'm like a Catskill Mountains tour
No,
tourist.
I get this was the
No, but it's
equivalent.
it's beautiful here, though. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose the equivalent, the Scottish equivalent would be when you get sick of the hustle and bustle of Kilmarnock, you get a ferry to Arran or something like that. But it does make sense. I've heard New York's a big place. It's bigger than Fife. It's huge. There's so much going on, and do you think by taking that break to the Catskills, that's what inspired what came next?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. That's what a lot. Well, a lot of deserter songs. The subject matter is kind of about that. The song "The Hudson Line" is about escape. It's not escaping, but leaving the concrete jungle and coming up state to a different place. And but a lot of the record, Opus 40 is a place. That's a place that actually exists up here in the Catskills. It's a sculpture. It's like a sculpture garden and also a performance space where they do concerts, and Sun Ra Orchestra just played there. Sonny Rollins played there, and yeah, it's a cool joint to come to.
Yeah, because obviously there is just this calmness that's in deserter songs and All Is Dream. That there was a specific sound. I felt you can hear it. I think you said it in the other guy said it as well. It's like like the albums go together. It does feel like a part one and a part two.
Yeah.
Just captured a moment and a sound. I mean, were you going for a specific sound? What would you even call that sound? I struggle to explain it to someone else. I found it quite interesting when I was researching a little bit that Jonathan kind of went away and he was trying to he was watching a lot of Disney and trying to kind of sort of like nursery rhymes type things, try to simplify things a little. But from a music point of view, what was the thoughts? Was there a plan going in, or did it just happen organically?
It kind of happened organically. I mean, we started to do some of the just branch out on See You on the Other Side and use other instruments. And that on See You on the Other Side, there was like a lot of different like sax sections and brass and trumpets and stuff in that. Really with Deserter songs, we really wanted to use a lot of things, mellotrons and some string sections, and you know, it was like music we were listening to, like Chet Baker with strings, or Frank Sinatra songs, or you know, even stuff like the Pogues, you know, Fairy Tale of New York, and things that were a little different, a little more orchestrated, and like you know, harkening back, not to lose the rock and roll, but also add in some of the music that we grew up with, like Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Chet Baker and things like that. So we were kind of like, and show tunes and stuff. So, and like Brill Building kind of stuff from New York City. So mixing all that together was like I think it was the goal of Deserters and All's Dream.
Yeah, and you just nailed it perfectly. There was a
Thanks.
stylistic choice I think you said about not bringing the distorted guitars that maybe been there. Have you got any demos anywhere of you trying those songs out with lots of distortion and stuff? Was it tried at all?
Uh, you know, a little bit. Like sometimes, you know, there's versions of earlier versions of Holes without the trumpet solo and things where there's more distorted like guitar solos and stuff. But then um, when we, you know, when we switched it out and kind of orchestrated it, it just gave it a different vibe.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we were listening, you know, we were listening to a lot of like New York hip hop stuff too, like De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest, where you know, there was a lot of sampled sample jazz stuff along with them playing. Even Beastie Boys too on like Paul's Boutique and stuff. Um, and that was a big influence. Just as far musically, just to mishmash these different things together and come up with something new.
And that's exactly what it is. It's unique. If anyone's not heard them before, Deserter songs, always dream. Just listen to them back to back. It takes you into another world. A dreamy, yeah. And you can hear the nostalgia. What you're talking about, show tunes, Dean Martin, Disney. You know, it is like a big melting pot of so many different influences to create something unique. And that's what the best music always is. And you've got those at that time you had modern technology as well, and it just yeah, it's amazing, man. What a brilliant piece of music. And now just to go on to the newer one, so we've only heard one song so far, I believe. Well, I've only heard one song from the new album. What kind of vibe can we? What kind of journey can we be expected to be going on with that?
Uh, it is. It's pretty. It's pretty Technicolor and widescreen, and you know, it's continuing on with the with things that we've experimented with before, but there's a there's I don't know. It's almost like there's parts where it's jazzy. There's parts where it's uh, electronic and almost krautrock. Um, and there's some of it where, you know, Jonathan sings a bunch of the songs, but he also kind of recites some of the songs like poetically, and that's a nod to Robert Creeley, who was a beat poet and friends with Kerouac and things that we studied. Both myself and mostly Jonathan studied with him in Buffalo. Also, he was teaching when we were going to school up in Buffalo. And yeah, Robert Creeley, great American poet.
Yeah, I mean, I can. You could always hear the beat poetry influence when songs like, is it maybe Hercules? Is that the last song?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously, of course, Little Rhymes without doubt as well. I mean, you can hear there's always been such good poetry. I think that lyrically it's very visual. It paints pictures. It takes you to a place. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, how does the writing process actually go? How Well, I mean, we'll talk about. Well, let's prioritise this album for argument's sake. Did you just go into this album with a different writing process, or how does it normally go? Do you send demos to each other, or do you just turn up
Yeah,
with
we
some
send
ideas?
demos to each other. I mean, this one was a lot. Uh, this this time it was a lot more initiated. Like Jonathan had a lot of the lyrics, and he had skeletal versions of a lot of the music, and then so we kind of went with that, and we're working with the lyrics and the poetry, and then like making the music uh, and creating the music to fit those moods in a way that was, yeah, I mean, almost like Brecht and Weil or something, like trying to just, or movie soundtracks. Like we always loved Blade Runner, the film Blade Runner, and the music in there and that nostalgia. So it was, kind of almost like a film soundtrack or a theatrical show with with Jonathan narrating it, but either singing or speaking some of the parts like Richard Burton would do.
Of course,
Jonathan Jonathan loves Richard Burton, by the way, and so yeah.
yeah. I'm just going to the website just now, just to for anyone who's watching this back. So if you go to mercuryrev.com, you can see the Born Horses album where you can pre-order it from, and then we've got the tour dates. So let's have a wee look at the tour dates. It's a big one. So I think I heard you saying that you took a little bit of a step back. You've had children or a child. I don't know, but you've been
Yeah, I got a
doing,
couple kids. I have, yeah.
so you've been doing father stuff. So you took a little bit of step back. So lockdown was quite good because you couldn't tour anyway.
Right.
But is this the first big tour for a while then?
Yeah, it's the first for a while. I mean, we went out on tour a couple of years ago. It was during lockdown. We went out on tour in the U.S. with Brian Jonestown Massacre,
Oh, I
and
love them. Absolutely love that
yeah,
music, man.
yeah, Anton's is a great guy, and that was fun. But it was everybody got COVID like halfway through, so then it was like a couple of weeks got canceled in the Midwest, and then we continued on the West Coast. So it was supposed to be like 6 weeks, but we kind of did 2 weeks on the East Coast, 2 weeks on the West Coast, and we missed in the middle. Everybody got COVID except for me. I got it late, I got it a couple months later.
Do you
But
know, I got it last month for the first time. About
yeah,
a month or 2 months ago, I'd avoided it. My partner had it. I just somehow managed to avoid it, but I
did you
got it. I got
did
it
you get
bad.
it?
I was
Did
really
you get
bad.
it in Mexico?
No, I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't get it. I got food poisoning in
around the
Mexico. I got, I got food
yeah.
poisoning a few times in Mexico. It was for the first week, everyone was like, "Watch out! Don't drink the ice. Don't watch out for the salad because they might use the local water." And then don't eat the seafood. People warned me. But then after a week, I was meeting people who were from the UK or whatever, and they were saying it's fine. The food is brilliant. You're next to this beautiful sea. Eat the seafood. I ate the seafood. It was brilliant. I had ice in my cocktail. It was amazing. So I didn't. I just ate whatever I wanted for about a month. The food was fantastic. I was having the time of my life, and then I don't know what it was. I don't know what it caused it. I thought it was a hangover
Yeah,
at
it's
first.
great. And then all of a sudden,
What's it called?
yeah,
To Kazuma's
yeah.
Revenge. Oofed. Yeah, it was. Yes. I
Montezuma's
spent.
Revenge, or yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah. I spent about 2 weeks mostly in a bathroom in Mexico City, but then I came back and then I was just a bit more wary. But then I got it again. So, but it didn't put me off. What a wonderful place. And you know, I suppose that's the beauty of touring is you get to go to these wonderful, far-flung
Yes.
places. And yeah,
Yeah.
what are you? You're going to Australia next. Have you got friends in Australia? Is it somewhere that you look forward to going back to?
Yeah, we got friends there, and I also have family there because my grandfather came from Sicily, and
I've
his
been to Sardinia. I've been to Sardinia, which is
oh, you've been
not
to oh, nice.
it's not a million miles away from Sicily. It's an Italian island, but yeah, it's different. But I'd love to go to Sicily.
Yeah, it's by there. But yeah, so I have all these cousins. So I have my grandfather's relative moved to Australia, so I have tons of cousins, and mostly they're all in Melbourne. But there's a few in Sydney and Brisbane and stuff, but mostly they're all in Melbourne. But it's great when I go to Melbourne, they have me over and cook a great, huge, pasta and pizza and everything, and it's like fantastic.
I
So
have one cousin
I
in
love going there.
Melbourne, but
But
I've never been, but I'd love to go.
oh yeah, you gotta go. It's
So,
beautiful.
so you're
It's
going to
great.
Australia, New Zealand. I've got a couple of friends that live over there, and they're not. They went for a few months, and they're not coming back. They're just like it's too good. They're loving it in New Zealand. They just
Yeah,
went for a holiday, went for the summer, and stayed. They're just staying for a lifetime. They're settled there now.
never never came back.
Never came back. They're not coming back. They've said we should go and visit them. Then you're going to Ireland. So you're going to October 28th. You're going to Limerick, Galway, Cork, Dublin. Uh, so I love Ireland. You know, I've got Irish family going back. Is it? You must be fond of Ireland yourself. You must have played there a few times over the years as well.
Many, many, many times. Yes, it's great. I love Ireland. My wife, her her last name is Donovan, so a lot of times when we play in Ireland, but my son's name, by the way, is Donovan, but he's got my last name, Makoviak. Donovan Makoviak, and my other son is Harrison. Call him Little Harry, but they love to go on tour and see me play. Come to they've come to England a few times. They've come to Italy to see me play, but then it's been COVID, so hopefully they can come over this time and hang out.
So you're doing Norwich, Bristol, Newcastle, and Glasgow. And yeah, so tell us
Yes.
about Glasgow. You're playing the Garage, which is a great
Hmm.
venue. And I think I seen you, the last time I think I seen you was at the Barrowlands. I might be getting
Okay.
that wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I think the first time I seen you was at Tea in the Park, so which was a crazy time as well. So what memories? Do you have any memories of playing Scotland in the past?
T- oh, Tea in the Park was great. We were drinking a lot of aftershock and absinthe. Woof. Ouch.
I think everyone at Tea in the Park is. It was the aftershock era. It Round about Tea in the
That
Park.
was the era. That was that
It
era.
was
Yeah.
it was the
Yeah.
aftershock era. I mean, it does still exist. I just don't think anyone buys it anymore. But
No.
it does
No.
it does exist.
Yeah. People couldn't take it anymore, I don't think. But
Too many people had the bad hangovers and just went, no, never again, never again. Not
yeah.
even Iron Brew can fix that one. So yeah, so it's the November the 6th in Glasgow, the Garage. I'll put a link to it. I've already got my tickets for it. I'm going. I bought my tickets about a week or two after it was announced. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'll definitely see you there. One thing I was wanting to ask you before you go was the Back to Mine compilation. Is the hold on that you did Back to Mine, Mercury Rev.
Mhm.
I'm just curious because obviously I love those compilations because it gives you an insight into the artist. You know, I've
Yeah.
got loads of them. But I was just wondering how it all works. So I can see there you've got David Bowie, you've got
Mhm.
Bowie, sorry, Bowie. You've got yourselves are on there. Suicide, Spacemen 3. I love Spiritualized Man. That's one of my favourites. But yeah, just I'm just looking at John Cale, of
Oh
course.
yeah.
Nico, it's just like it's great, man. I actually just got this recently. I
Yes.
didn't even know he's had one, so I'm just familiarising myself. I've only listened to it all the way through once, but loving it so far. I was just wondering, I'm just curious, how does it work? I mean, is there a lot of back and forth about getting the rights? Did you have to? Did you not get the rights to some songs? I'm just curious how the process works because there's lots of great artists have done a back to mine compilation.
Yeah. The company who does that, they kind of take care of all that. You make the list, and they get all the rights. And I don't know. I forget now. It's been some years since we did that, like 10 years or more. But they handled everything and got, the rights to put everything together. So they were, they just contact the artist, say, hey, can you put together a list? And I don't think there wasn't any that they didn't get. I think everything, I picked a bunch of them. Jonathan picked a bunch, and at the time, Jeff Mercil, who was in the band as our keyboard player, he picked a few of the songs. But yeah, everything we pretty much wanted, they got on there.
Amazing. And
Yeah, that is amazing.
it's amazing because I thought you would have. I was just curious, like, do you need to like make a list of 50 songs and then you get 16? But if you just get them all in a winner, that's excellent news. And I've just been listening to the first time. I don't know how I missed this one, but
Yeah.
the Delta Suite revisited. So I've just started listening to that, and that's a cool concept as well. How did that come about?
Which one is that? Sorry, you cut
Uh,
out for 1 second.
Sorry, the Delta Suite revisited.
Oh, yes. So that was the Bobby Gentry album that we did our rendition of, and you know, she she was down in the Mississippi Delta, and which is at the end of the Appalachians. We're like at the Catskills are the top of the Appalachians. So we did our take on it. And it was like a favorite record of ours that, it came out when Jonathan and I were kids. Both of our parents had that record. So it was something that we had in common. And then Jesse Chandler, who plays with us, keyboards with us now, he loved it too. So we came up with these arrangements, and then, Jonathan did the scratch vocals, and I said, "What? Why don't you sing?" And he said, "I really want. I think it's better because Bobby Gentry, to get female singers." So we started asking around some of the people we knew, like Jesse Chandler knew Nora Jones, and we knew Beth Orton and
Oh man,
Letitia, and
Beth Orton's new
we
album's
had.
amazing.
Oh yeah, she's
It's so
really
good.
good. She's always really good. Yeah. And we always loved Lucinda Williams, and we just, we didn't know her, but we just sent a letter, and she wanted to do it, so it was great. I was a big fan of hers. A lot of the artists we were just big fans of, so it was great to have them work on the album.
Yeah, it's amazing selection of singers you picked there as well. How do you decide who does what song? Did you put it to the singers, or did you just have an idea of who you wanted to sing each song, or how did that go?
We kind of had an idea at the beginning. We kind of sent some of the people a couple different songs to see which ones they wanted to do. But then as it got more filled up, um, there were
Yeah, there was only so many songs left,
and,
and so many singers.
and then we picked those. I mean, there was some other singers, but they couldn't do it at I think we had asked Annie from St. Vincent, but she was kind of busy during that time. And yeah, anyway, it all worked out, pretty cool.
I've got Epi Muse commented to say, looking through a box of older CDs to find Mercury Rev CDs, and so far got Flaming Lips, Heavy Nugs, Compilation, and now Sunrise Space is the place for a listen laters. And he's also saying that he loves Beth Gibbons' Sonic Youth's new album, and looking forward to hearing Mercury Rev's album.
Thank you.
And Mary's saying, even your old mother loves Mercury Rev. You guys introduced me to the music. Mercury Rockets is in the house. Hello, Mercury Rockets. Hello, Lou. And thanks to everyone who's tuned in. That's just to wrap it up one more time. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, man. This is up 45 minutes, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. The album's out November the 6th. It's called September the 6th. Born Horses.
Thanks.
Get it from mercuryrev.com or bellaunion.com, and there's a full UK tour you can find on the website, but the one that I'll be at is November the 6th at the Garage in Glasgow. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Come backstage, we'll do some aftershock.
Yeah, no, I'll bring you a bottle of Aftershocks. No worries at all, man.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for asking me to do this. It's great.
No, thank you.
All right.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much. That was Grasshopper from Mercury Rev, or Mercury Rev, depending on how you want to say it. The audio podcast is out every Sunday, and we're doing the live streams every sort of Tuesday or Thursday just now. But you can always guarantee that there'll be a new audio podcast on the Sunday. And if you're listening to the audio podcast already, then well done. Get yourself over to the YouTube channel where we do more regular live streams and news and live sessions and stuff like that. So an absolute pleasure to have the legendary Grasshopper. Brilliant. Go and get the album. Go and get tickets for the UK tour or the Australia tour as well. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
I got you. Ready?
Yeah, he's
1 2 1 2 1 2. Yo, this is Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 live and direct here in Glasgow, Scotland, and you call that radio?
Upon you, we are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us as people of conscience to lose our morale. We see the crimes of this government, how they support every dictator and criminal on this earth. Sometimes you can feel down. Sometimes you're